Hey everyone, welcome to Handy at the Shandy, a Las Vegas podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam, joined by Boring Jack and Table James Games. This is hour 2 of episode 19. We're going to finish our trip report from hour 1, but first we're going to start with some listener feedback and questions. We're going to start with Tom B, who said, the most recent episode, how am I supposed to read that? Episode?
You're good. Just keep going.
Right. The most recent episode, 18, got me thinking. I'm going to Las Vegas in April with my wife. I enjoy gambling. She really doesn't, except bingo. Don't ask me. She's not a foodie. She will drink some, so that stuff doesn't excite her. We're going to see Cyndi Lauper, which is how I talked her into going with me. Looking for ideas to help her enjoy Las Vegas, as much as I do. Well, that's a great way just to get your wife to go to Vegas, is find one thing that you know she'll really enjoy. And that kind of, okay, that's sealed it, we're going. And now you're on to the fun part, which is let's find something that she might enjoy that's not Cyndi Lauper. Any ideas, guys?
Well, the first thing you could do is have her practice a little bit of video poker, and I think she might get hooked with it. That's how I got Kim to really start enjoying some gambling with me and some video poker. Is like, look, this is a pretty decent game. There's some strategy with it, and then you get to sit down and have a couple nice cocktails. We get to hang out, and then she was hooked. Now, I don't know if you want to get your wife hooked on gambling, but that's kind of the path that I took. Now the thing is Kim just wants to go to Vegas all the time, so maybe that's bad. Outside of that, I don't know. The spa's always really nice. Like, people like to relax. I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, April's a good time to go for the outdoor stuff. So the pool, the spa's not outdoor, but you get what I'm saying. There's other things to do. Now, you should mention that Kim does play at a lower stakes than you do, which was mandated by you as the controller.
Yeah, definitely. Although, actually, she'll just play as low as she can. She gets so much enjoyment just out of playing. We were playing 3-line, and she was playing nickels earlier today. And she's like, I'll have just as much fun this. And then she gets 4 aces. And I was like, way to win $20.
We do not denom shame on this podcast, unless you're married to one of us.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But yeah, I like that. That's what Katie and I would do too, is like, she'll go to the spa, and that'll give me my gambling time, or then we'll share some time at the pool, like rent a day bed and, make a day out of it or something like that. And that's why I think in hour 1, I said, well, if I'm going with Katie, I'd rather stay at Wynn. And the reason is because everything around the gambling is really nice. The room's great, the spa's great, the gym's great, the pool's great, right? And then I'll typically, when Katie's in town, I'll gamble when she goes to bed. And it's like, yeah, I'll hit it hard for 3-4 hours while she's sleeping, but I'm not gambling the rest of the day. And so, like, because doing a 12-hour stretch of gambling at Wynn is going to be tough for my particular bankroll. But I can do 3 hours. That's totally fine. And do like a cramp session there. So another thing to kind of consider too is, hey, we're gonna focus this trip just on you. What do you want to do? Here's some different activities, and then at night or when you get your couple hours, and that's when you kind of hit it hard.
Yeah, I would say the thing that's important is to have stuff scheduled, because if you just show up with the idea of, oh, we're gonna like be able to do things that we both enjoy, or if that fails, you can do what you want to do and I'll do what I want to do. I think it's very easy to just end up you kind of doing what you want to do in Vegas. And then she's just kind of like, well, I guess I'm in the room or I guess I'm at the pool, even though maybe I don't want to be, So I think make sure that even if you're scheduling time, whether you're scheduling it apart or scheduling it for events that you're trying to do together, just have stuff on the schedule that you're planning on doing and then stick to that. So it doesn't feel like, so you don't have to try to make it up as you go along.
Yeah. And if you make this trip more focused on things she wants to do, she'll tell you something magical, which is what Katie told me once. She doesn't like Vegas really at all. But after we were done with the Vegas trip, she said to me, wow, I had a really great time in Vegas. I'm like, what did you say? Which I wasn't anticipating, which makes it more likely that she'll come back with me, which she ultimately has. So I think if you focus on her, that'll, you'll have a good chance of returning too.
Yeah. The Handy at the Shandy podcast is very much for focusing on your partner.
We're very pro women here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In this 3-man show. Yes. JB wrote in, said, love the podcast. Have a couple questions about ADT that I've always wondered. In June, I have 3 nights comped at Paris. I've heard that on days you don't play for long, you shouldn't use your player's card for fear your ADT, your average daily theoretical, going down. But what if I'm there on a comp offer already? Let's say my first day I get there, I don't play at all. Does that day not register and affect my ADT because I didn't swipe my player's card at a machine? Or does it count as a 0 play day and will affect my ADT since they know I'm there and staying on property? If the answer to the above question is that it doesn't register, will things like swiping my card at a sundry store and using my rewards credit trigger that I'm there and not playing? Or is it literally only gambling that will start the day of play? And I'll say in a blanket statement, this can vary based on place to place, but I'll say that they know you're on the property because you're on your comp offer. So they're going to know that you're there. You don't have to swipe at all. But I'm curious to hear, Jack and James, what you have to say.
I think this is unknown by everybody except for one person in the entire world, because I feel like you never know what you're getting with it.
And you never get a straight answer either.
You never get a straight answer either, yeah. I have been told if you're on a comp offer, especially if you're on a comp offer through some sort of host or marketing specialist, maybe they're not an official host, that they're going to go off of more of a trip theoretical. Now, if you're just booking through the website, is that what they're doing? Or are they going ADT? I don't know. I have not done any sort of research in the fact of, let me go and try this or try that. I'm usually putting my card in all the time and then just being like, well, we're going to let the chips fall where they may.
I'm kind of the opposite, where taking your two questions, JB, kind of as the same question, which is just at what point do they trigger this as like a day that you're on the property? In my mind, if you ever use anything that's related to your card, I assume that triggers a day. It's probably not true for certain exceptions here and there, but I don't know what those exceptions are. And I think most people that would tell you that they know what those exceptions are lying. So I would say that 100%, if you booked a comp offer for them for 3 days, it doesn't really matter if you did 2 big days of play and then were really sneaky to not use a card on the other day. It's still just going to be those 2 days divided by the 3 days that you were there would be your ADT. I think most people would agree with that. Other stuff like using rewards credits, I've heard people that are generally pretty smart and knowledgeable say that buying stuff with your points you've already earned does not count. I wouldn't risk it. I would just only use my points if I was already gambling that day anyways, because it's not like you're going to find a day that you're there and gambling where you have something you want to buy. Like it's not like you have to risk it, right? And so you might as well just not risk it. And that's kind of my take on this stuff.
The other thing of those too, like you're clearly someone who gets comp offers. And so if these are offers that you're fine with, is it worth worrying about kind of in the big picture, right? You're getting comp offers doing what you're already doing. Maybe don't overcomplicate it and just keep doing what you're doing. Unless you're really trying to maximize every penny and saying, I really want to look as best as I can at the casino, then maybe you could be a bit more judicious with how you're swiping your card. I think with Jack on a comp offer, they know you're there, you're staying there. So yeah, they're going to know. But other than that, like just have fun and do what you normally do. Because for me, it's like, it's just not worth worrying about at a certain point. Especially if I'm in that property, or like if I'm in that rewards program enough that it's just like they know who I am. They know what I'm capable of, if you will, or not capable of. And so I just tend to not worry about it too much. But it's a good question. All right, kind of similar. Jamie's asking, heading to Vegas next month and finally have the bankroll that I think can expand beyond Caesars and still get some free rooms for future visits. If I want to seed a property with $1,000 for a higher than normal stakes video poker session to get teaser offers, how would you play it? I normally just play 1 or 3 line bonus poker, and I'm not well versed in other variant strategies. So you want to just start with this first part, because there's 3 parts here.
I think, and this is a bit of a spoiler ahead to the other parts because I have read ahead, but my answer would be just play 1 or 3 line bonus poker. And if that's what you're comfortable playing, and if you want to play more because you're trying to put in a big day of play at a property that's new to you to show them that you're a big player that should get future offers, you can either play a higher denom than you would normally play, or you can just play longer than you would normally play. And I think given that you're doing this with $1,000, trying to go up a denom could lead to you actually playing shorter and, not doing as much. Like if I were to say, hey, play 3-line bonus poker at dollar denom for $15 a push, like that could go really fast with $1,000 bankroll.
Which it did for us in this trip.
Yeah. So I would say just plan on playing for longer, setting aside more time to do it, and, really showing you're a gambler that way.
Yeah, I'm with Jack. I would stick with just bonus poker and, play your normal game you want to play for a long time. You know the strategy, you enjoy it. Try to sit there for a while. I think they're looking for longer time, so I wouldn't worry too much about, playing at a higher denom or not. I would just play what you're comfortable with and try to sit there for a long time. Grab a couple good drinks, find some good company. I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, that kind of leads to the second part here. When they say, is there a higher variance strategy that I could use my bigger bankroll to play to seed some action using bonus poker strategy and not be way off? Or should I just go up in denom/lines playing bonus poker, excuse me. I wouldn't want to go beyond 5-line and do find 3-line as my comfort spot. And yeah, and we keep talking about like playing longer, which I think is true, but keep in mind, like what playing longer means is just like running those tier credits up. Like, when it comes to like table games, like it's a lot of estimating on their part in terms of like what kind of player you are, like at your bet size matter and how long you play matters. But they're pretty good at knowing exactly what kind of player you are on video poker and slots because, it's well calculated, right? There's no guessing there. So just running those tier credits up, playing as long as you can. And I think playing within kind of your comfort zone for a long time is going to be your best option there. Also knowing that it could go to shit really quickly and then kind of there it goes. But, you're giving it your best shot.
And I think some of the reason we were so gung-ho about sticking to bonus poker when we answered kind of that first portion of the question is that I think we're all kind of surprised that you suggested, Jamie, that you would maybe want to do a higher variance strategy. Because in some sense, the casino wants low variance gamblers, ones that play small amounts for a long time and really put a lot of coin in through, not one that's either going to win big and leave or lose big and then leave, because those players aren't actually gambling as much, even though it might look like it. And so higher variance is kind of the antithesis of trying to earn more tier credits or show a casino more play and stuff like that. Higher variance is what you would want to do if you're doing like a hit and run sort of thing, or you're trying to maximize the amount of gambling you get done, but minimize the amount of money you're putting through. And that's kind of not what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, I agree. Last part here, still going to spend most of my few days in the Caesars Empire, but want to venture likely to the MGM verse and would welcome your input on one higher bankroll session strategy, which we kind of covered there. I'm thinking MGM because I'd like to lure my wife to join me for a trip this fall, and the smoke-free environment of Park MGM/the Reserve would be a big plus for her. I would say, well, yeah, MGM's the other big boy in town, and so it's a natural kind of about face from the east side of the strip to the west side of the strip. And depending on where you like to be, sometimes being in an empty place can feel smoke-free, and Fontainebleau gives away good teaser offers at times. So it's maybe something to consider, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. But it might be worth visiting as well. I think you'll probably find yourself right at home in one of the MGM properties there, though. I think it's a good transition. This coming from someone who barely gambles outside of MGM, so I feel like I'm just welcoming you and not having much experience outside that.
I think Park MGM would be a great place to go.
Yep.
It's not too far away from wherever you're going to be staying in the Caesars Empire, and smoke-free. There's a lot of positives with that too. They have the big center bar, which I think is called the East Bar or something. I forget the actual name, Jack.
West Bar.
Close.
West Bar. I knew I was close. I was only on the opposite side. I'm not an Eagle Scout. I don't know my directions. And so they've got that. And there's also a bunch of kind of video pokers on the floor as well. So I think that'd be a really good spot to go.
Is there, knowing that effectively you can earn comps and discounted room rates at any MGM property, no matter where you play at. So like if you play at Park, you can still earn free rooms at Bellagio, right? Based on on what you're playing. So, I mean, Jack, is there a place maybe in Center Strip that you think, well, this is probably a good option for bonus poker, like a 3-line bonus poker?
No, almost every bar top you play at, if you're playing quarters or 50 senses, you're going to find 6-5 bonus poker. And so and those are kind of the denoms we were recommending playing earlier. So no, it's all going to be 6-5 bonus poker, which is fine. It's better than you get at a lot of Caesars bar tops. I would say the reason I was going to agree with James and say, yeah, go to Park MGM is that like part of the casino experience is finding the spots that you like to be. And so if that's the place you're thinking of staying at, you might as well try gambling there first and say, hey, did I really enjoy that? Is that where I want to go back to? And if you don't, then maybe you try the next casino the next time. But yeah, I think finding a spot that you like is kind of the most important part of it. And so starting where you're already have an inkling you might like is a good place to start.
Yeah. I like these multi-part questions too. Thank you to everybody for writing in. We had one more question before we get to the rest of our trip report. This one's from Tom N this time. Another Tom says, how do I make a karma donation going to Vegas in April? I will give you my personal Zelle that you can just send it
just
to.
Just wire money directly.
Just wire money. Account. But no, we don't have anything set up right now. I think at one point we're going to do a Patreon only podcast. That's the plan, right? And it's $1,000 a month. That's what we're going to do.
At some point, we'll find a way to separate you guys from your money and pad our coffers and line our pockets, et cetera, with it. But we're not there yet.
For people who want to know behind the scenes, we've had pretty strong opinions from the start. This is not a statement about other podcasts or anything like that of saying that if we ever do a Patreon or something like that, we will do no extra work. There will be no extra content. You will get nothing for
you might get like a tote bag, but still probably not. It's going to be like a very NPR sort of thing.
It'd be like if I had an extra one from Trader Joe's and I'd say, we're going to get our junk is basically what it is. But no, there will be no extra content or anything. We have no plans to do anything behind a paywall, mostly because I'm lazy. But two, it's just, there's going to be one feed essentially.
The content is going to stay free for our wonderful listeners, but we will have some ways here in the next couple of months whenever Jack decides to start it, that if you want to put some money towards the hosting fees or the syringes or the 4-of-a-kind trackers, we'll find something.
Or mocktails, but you will get nothing in return. I just need to make that as plainly clear as I can. Nothing will be given to you besides a thank you. And so,
Jack, did we do that a justice for you?
I'm actually really worried about promising thank yous for people.
Okay, all right, maybe. All right, let's jump into the remainder of our James's triumphant 40th birthday trip, which he's still on, but we're going to take you through until the important part, which is when Jack and I leave, and the three of us are no longer together. That's when we're going to end this episode. And I believe we're starting this on Saturday morning. And I'll start with me. I had a less offensive breakfast for on the wallet, I will say. I ate at Sadel's in Bellagio. Actually went up and worked out again. This is what I'm finding is the benefit of not drinking anymore, is that I have energy, I can get out of bed, and I can go exercise, even though I knew I was going to do an athletic event later on in the day. But then I walked I wanted to get actually room service. I wanted to disappoint a lot of people at Bellagio, but it was going to be an hour and a half wait for them to bring it up to my room, which at Wynn, it was only about 35 minutes. So again, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying. So I went to Sadel's, sat at the bar. It was great. Sadel's really good. I think it's a perfect, like I said, if you're alone, bar top seating, but they have some grab and goes that you can do as well. How did you guys start your day?
I met James down at the Chandelier bar. So instead of going for a walk, I was like, well, we got this breakfast planned at 10. It's about 8 at this point. How about I play some video poker with my old pal James? And I mean old in the most derisive way it can be taken.
How did that morning session go at Cosmo?
I don't know. I lost a couple $100. I switched to video blackjack once my ticket got down to 2,000 because I didn't want. Or do you mean for you?
You switched to video. Hang on. You switched to video blackjack?
I guess
this is the first time hearing of this.
Well, I had like a $2,300 ticket, and once it got down to 2,000 and change, I was like, I'm not going to let this go below 2,000 on what should have been me not even gambling. And so I had like $2,014. And I just played some $2 video blackjack for a while.
So that's your threshold. Bucks. When your Tito gets down to 2,300, you say, now it's video blackjack time?
I wasn't ready to leave the bar just yet, but I did not want to squander my vast fortune.
Okay. Well, let's get to James then, because he's jumping out of his seat to tell us what happened.
Well, I hit the hand pay the night before, so I was excited to get back to gambling and staying at 50 cents. And I wasn't doing well in the morning because, shocker, you move up to 50 cents 3-line double bonus Ultimate X. There's going to be some pretty big swings.
I think James was already down like $1,000 by the time I saw him. And then it was like, oh, now I'm down 2,000. Oh, now I'm down 2,500. And then he'd like hang out downtown. He'd be like down 2,500 for like 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'd be like, oh, that's pretty good. You're hanging in there, down 2,500. But then he was down like 3,000. And it's like,
this is what we're talking about, Jamie, with your question.
I don't know if I was down that. I mean, I was down a lot. You're right. The thing is, I would have, probably should have, probably could have, whatever, gone back down in denom. But because I was up the day before, I was like, I'm just going to play this. This is where I want to be right now.
This is who I am now.
This is who I am.
I do remember looking over at one point, even later than this, be like, is James still at 50 cents?
Yeah. And lo and behold, Royal Flush on a 2X, holding only 2 cards.
You're like that meme of the guy with the pickaxe. Like, he stops right before he gets to like all the treasure, but you kept digging.
I kept digging.
And it paid off.
And that was amazing. Like, that was a really cool, like the night before was obviously awesome. And like Kim was there, but it's like, you're dealt 3 aces. You're like, there's an okay chance that I'm going to get this one in a kicker. It's not a lot, but it's an okay chance. Mm-hmm. I'm not even thinking if I'm 2 to the Royal, I'm not even thinking like, oh, I'm going to hit a Royal. Like once you get to 3, I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, this is a possibility. With 2, I'm just kind of like hitting the button and it comes across, boom, least expecting it. 4,000. Jack's sitting next to me. I'm like, let's go. We're cooking.
Did you guys hug? I wasn't there, so I didn't get to see it.
No, we didn't hug because you weren't there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you were there, we would have hugged.
We have to establish what is a hugging occasion for this podcast, but that's not it. All right.
Yep. And I just looked at the timestamp on my photo, and it was at 8:40. So we were probably, getting ready to, at the very least, start heading over because we were going to Guy Fieri all you can eat at 10 o'clock.
And it does take 80 minutes to get there. So yeah, we would have been really itching
it's a long
to leave
walk
at
from Cosmo
you are okay. Let's talk about this because every time I'm trying to get somewhere at like a D-step, Jack's like, we don't have to leave that early. A lot of times I like to kind of, maybe go to the room and like relax for 10 minutes.
We stood around in front of Guy Fieri's in that weird out of place atrium for like 15 minutes. We stood there for so long. We had like different rescue parties had to go off and like find the stragglers who like got bored and wandered off.
Fine, Jack.
I like to get places no hug. Early. I know there's a rift going. Yeah.
I like to get places early. And you never know. I like to leave to go to other places in Vegas a little earlier, give myself 10 to 15 minutes, because what if I walk up and I see a machine I want to play? Or if, oh man, there's an empty $10 craps table. Let's play that for 10, 15 minutes. I got to leave
15
things
minutes.
Open. You're making this up. You wouldn't have, if you're the type of guy that needs to get to Guy Fieri's 15 minutes early, you're not going to stop at the Dragon Link on the way
That's
there.
worse than a dad getting
we were already at the gambling we wanted to do. We were already doing the thing that we would have stopped to do if we had more time.
Getting to Guy Fieri's earlier than 5 minutes late is inappropriate, I think.
Okay, so let me give you what I think my real reason is when I'm trying to gather 10 people, I like to tell people, hey, we're going to meet at this time to leave, to get there on time, knowing that there's going to be people who show up late. And I think for this one, no one showed up late, so we just ended up getting there 15 minutes early. But I got to hang out with a bunch of my friends that were there, so I'm okay with it.
Sucks.
So we made it. We made it to Guy Fieri's Kitchen and Grill. I just made that up. I don't know if that's what it's actually called.
Flavor Town Sports Kitchen.
Yeah. Someone in the Horseshoe is where we went. And so they had an all-you-can-eat breakfast, and it was $19.95. I took superfluous notes on this. $19.95, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And they sat us down. Initially, service was very quick. We got the rundown of the menu. You can, from the all you can eat thing, you can order 2 things at a time, which we all did. We all ordered our 2 things, and that came out pretty quickly. I think for 10 people, which is 20 dishes, that came out pretty good. And then after that, it all just kind of went haywire.
Yeah, so the waiter we had was just baffled by his inability to track who ordered what. Like, it started with the first round of dishes we got. There was just some extra ones. It was like, was there another like American breakfast with eggs over easy? And no one claimed it, and most people already had one. So it wasn't like there was no one whose it could have been. It was just an extra one. And we were like,
and
that's
all
fine.
You can eat. There's no incentive for us to lie about it.
Right. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, it's all you can eat. There's extra food here. Maybe someone will take it. Just put it down and we'll figure it out. But then he'd be like, we know that like one person wants a mac and cheese. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we got like 8 salads and 6 mac and cheeses. Who got that?
He had 6 mac and cheeses at one point.
It was, yeah. But then he was like gaslighting us where it was like, he was like, no, I know for sure that you had like 6 mac and cheeses here. And we're all just looking at him like, I put my napkin over my plate to show I was done like 20 minutes ago. Like, you don't look at me like that's my mac and cheese. We've talked about this. So he did the right thing where he just took it and offered it to another table that was also doing the all you can eat. But
yeah, it was twice that he brought out at least double what we had ordered, and then was upset with us. And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking to. Everyone has food in front of them. No one's ordering extra food.
He gave us kind of like this pitiful look, like, why are you guys pranking me by ordering all these things and then telling me you didn't order them?
I was done after the first course. I'm like, I don't know why you're still bringing me stuff.
No. I did order a beer that never showed up. Yeah. And then at the end, I was like, hey, I ordered this beer. It never showed up. So just take it off. He's like, oh, it's almost ready. I was like, it's almost ready. It's a 16-ounce Coors Light. Like, what do you have to do? Do you have to put it back under the heater? Like, and then, so I'm like, fine. So now I'm like, I don't want it. And then we're just about ready to leave. And he's like, oh, here, it's on the house now. It's like, which is great. But also now I have this
and
huge
James
beer
at this
that
point has not learned his lesson about whether or not you need to chug a beer before you leave an establishment.
That's true. I have not learned that.
However, all these mishaps aside, he was at the table a lot. I will give him that. He was around. He was
attentive. Yeah.
Service was there. He was just really confused and gaslighting us a little bit. But overall, the food was pretty good. And I think that's the most disappointing thing we were talking about during the meal is that this isn't going to be any sort of controversial clickbaity thing and that like, this is way not worth it. The food's crap or like, oh my God, it's the greatest. This is the best hidden gem ever. But like for $19, it's pretty good. And it's something that if someone was like, hey, we need a cheap breakfast, I would probably point them there if they're around.
Yeah, we didn't really get taken to Flavor Town. It was like a lot of kind of basic stuff. But on the other hand, like it was better than you would get at like Denny's for a similar price. I was a fan. I would pay $20 for that again, gladly.
It was like unincorporated flavor or something. I don't know what the equivalent would be.
Yeah. Now, during the brunch, as we were waiting for our food to get there, we did the draft for slot golf. So Kim was wearing her visor and her golf outfit. Adam was wearing the tracksuit. And Kim made this really cool scorecard. I'll make sure that I post a picture of it afterwards on the Twitter.
It's very official. It looked great.
Very official. Now, we have 10 of us there. But 2 of them decided they wanted to go to the pool instead of do slot golf, which I think boo them for sure. So we put all the names in a hat. Adam and I decided we would both go twice. And Kim just started picking out names, and then that person got to choose their casino. And we've gotten a lot of questions about what did we do for slot golf. And we ended up settling on pretty much what we talked about in the last episode, where an individual got to choose what casino based on this draft order they wanted to play in. They would find a slot machine, put their $100 in, and they would play through $100, closest to a $2 denom. My buddy Tom, who's never gambled in Vegas before, got the first pick, and he's just like, I guess Harrah's. which was like, well, didn't expect that one to be the first off.
No, I did not think that's going number one. I was shocked
No,
and appalled.
appalled.
But yeah, I mean, so that's this version of slot golf. Maybe in another episode we can talk about different variations that we've played. But yes, everybody play through $100. You know, people are taking anywhere between 38 to like 45, 50 spins based on how close they could get because they got to choose a machine. They had to choose a machine within 5 minutes, right?
That was a fun rule. It didn't
Yes.
It didn't really come up until James decided to push the envelope. But
Yes.
the idea that from when you enter the casino, you have to be sitting down in a machine within 5 minutes,
and that's actually a long time. That's a
it's
leisurely
forever.
walk.
Unless
But anyway, you know, once you're done, you don't just keep the money. All that money goes into a pot. And how it was split at the end of the game was that the person with the who had the smallest Tito and the person who had the largest Tito after their certain number of spins, they would each get 25% of the pot, and then the remainder of the people would split up the remaining 50% so that everybody kind of knew they were going to get something, which I think for a group that had people in it that don't really gamble much was probably good for them to know that, hey, you're going to end up with something at the end, even if it's not going to be a full 100, because $100 was kind of the entry ticket, although James and I double dipped, so we each got 2 entries.
Yeah, a couple of highlights from it and lowlights. We'll start with my first pick of the draft was Casino Royale because I had this plan. I knew that there was a 5-minute thing, and I knew that about that time of the slot golf course, we'd probably be needing some drinks. And so I'm like, I'm going to go to Casino Royale, and I'm going to sprint to the bar and order everyone a round of drinks and then get to a slot machine. So we get there. Adam starts the clock. I sprint to the bar, and there's one guy in front, and I'm like, oh, this won't take that long. I don't know what he was doing. It is the bar at Casino Royale. You say, hey, I want a Budweiser. Here's $3. He was ordering for like 3 other people, and then I think he paid with 100, and so they're like giving him change. I almost ran out of time.
Yeah, he took like
I did.
4.5 minutes of your 5 minutes.
But what that ended up meaning is that I had to choose just like the closest one. And so I just chose this Frankenstein machine and got my ass handed to me.
Which like 20 years ago, it would have been that massive Wheel of Fortune round. Remember that?
Right.
That like almost carousel? Oh, I wonder where that is right now. But yeah, you chose the Frankenstein.
Yeah. But I don't know. I had a pretty good time. We also, Tom, who picked Harrah's, ended up at
he was the first winner of the trip. We started off with a handful of losers that it was kind of a bummer for the first people that went. Like Kim went first and she lost like 65 of her $100 playing it through.
Yeah.
But we were like, well, $35 is not good, but it's not low enough that you're going to win the low part of the pot, right? Like someone's going to do worse than that. So she was just kind of out of it from the get-go. So that
and then I was the next hole at Cromwell, and I think I lost $74, $73.50, something like that. We did not start off strong at all. And then James, you lost the third hole, I think, or whoever's.
Yeah.
Oh,
I forget, but we didn't. Chris probably. Either way, we start off really bad. But then Tom has no clue what he's doing. He sees Little Shop of Horrors, and we say, "Oh yeah, that's got a good soundtrack on it because you get to like hear some stuff." Sit down on the machine, puts his money in, starts playing. No sound.
And we had a very strict rule of you can't change machines once you start playing. So.
Nope.
So we're playing like the most musical machine in the casino and just like trying to guess what sorts of sounds it might be making. But he did get a bonus and he did put the first W on the board for us, which was nice.
Yes.
I think the slot golf exercise is actually a lot more fun when people are winning. Like the first three holes, just watching someone like lose most of their money, it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, let me say from the biggest loser in the second hole, I lost pretty handily in that. I forgot what I even played, actually. I got a bonus. I do remember that, and it was $10, and I still lost $74.
Yeah,
Mo Money. I played Mo Mummy, yeah. And so the rest of the day, I'm wondering, is this going to hold? Because I knew that lowest wins a quarter of the pot, which is significant. It's a significant door prize. And so I had to sweat out the rest of the day. And I was literally sweating because that tracksuit was way too warm. I had never tried it on before.
Well, I guess we could just get to the results because 2 people on this call ended up getting high and low, and I was not one of them.
We sharked James and all his friends for their money.
Absolutely.
Adam picked the worst machine with Mo Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
I picked a classic with the Buffalo Lightning Link and hit like a $200 minor to have a decent win on a hold and spin there. So.
Well, and then I middled a side bet with James in that.
Damn it.
I think I won 83 on my second hole, right? And so what was the bet that I bet $20 that our 2 holes combined, I would have the highest Tito effectively, right? So like I had 26 or whatever and change on my first hole. You had lost pretty good at Casino Royale. You had lost, I think you were only 50 cents away from me or something like that.
Yes, I was
You
super
only had
close to the low.
You only had like a $27 Tito, or mine was like $26.50. Then I ended up getting like 83 in the next one. So I bet you $20 that I would have the highest combined of the 2 holes.
See, what Adam's saying is that he was able to hedge off some of his risk because he knows,
Yes.
hey, if James going into this last hole gets the worst score, I'm out of it for that quarter of the pot.
Yeah.
But I still get $20.
But he'll get the $20 because he'll have at least beaten James's total if James does poorly. But he got the perfect situation where James did poorly, not enough to beat Adam for the lowest dog, but poorly enough that he won the $20 as well.
Yes.
What's a good middle?
It's important to note that I also got part of the main pot too, because I had double dipped where I had paid $200 for 2 entries. And when Kim was passing out that money, I accidentally just took Tom's money. Because I just,
you're just like, give me 3 shares.
I'm like, I had 2 entries, so she just passed. If anyone hands money in my general direction, I just grab it from them. I grabbed Tom's money. Yeah, apparently I didn't mean to.
We're sitting there at the end, and it's like we're $60 short, which is like $62 short. And it's like, what? And then I look over, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure Tom's like, where's my money? And Kim's like, I put it in front of you. And Adam's like, oh, I must have taken it and puts it over.
So sorry, Tom. I apologize for that.
A couple things. The 2 people, well, let's not worry about Jack. My 2 friends that don't gamble at all actually won. Like both Tom and Maddie. Maddie came in second place, ended up turning her $100 into like $230, right? And Jack's at like $240, so ended up winning. But the amazing thing, so we donated all the change. So anytime we put in a Tito ticket, we just took just the, we didn't want to carry around a bunch of change, go to the cage, et cetera, et cetera. When Kim counts that money at the end, it is to the dollar, $1,000, the exact amount we put in, which was just amazing. I don't even I would have never guessed we would have even come close to breaking even, and just being exactly even was pretty cool. So that meant that, $250 went to Jack, $250 went to Adam, and everyone else $62.50, which isn't bad, 30, $40 for a long time. I thought it was really good. How'd you guys feel overall with it? And was there anything you would have changed if you were to do this again?
It's a good question. I do think that doing it immediately after the all-you-can-eat breakfast was rough only because there was no room for like a beer in my stomach. I did end up getting a frozen Bailey's, I guess, anyways. But there's always room for dessert, right? In any case, like it was an event that could have been made better by some day drinking.
Okay.
Mostly didn't partake in that. But logistically, I don't know. It all just went great. It was fun to just kind of walk up the strip, casino hop. It was early enough in the day that if we crowded 7-8 people around a machine, we weren't really in people's way. Like I'm sure we were a little annoying, but like we were able to navigate to an area where it wasn't that busy at most casinos.
No, it was efficient too. Like we're all having fun. You could tell that your friends who don't normally gamble were having a good time because it was a relatively kind of low risk proposition with us kind of pooling the money together. So, and it went quicker than I anticipated it would, but I think that was a good thing because we had plenty of time left over, just kind of everyone do their own thing before the evening's activities. I will give a shout out to the security team at Resorts World. Both James and I needed to get new players cards when we were there. And my habit of getting a new players card at the kiosk is putting my license in, taking the rewards card out, and then leaving my license in the kiosk and just walking away. And so the team grabbed my ID out of there and tracked us down. And I think, Jack, I was talking to you like offhand later on that day. I'm like, I should have tipped him. I was just kind of so caught off guard that this guy approached us. I was wearing a tracksuit. I looked ridiculous. And, he found us and he was very jovial.
You were too bewildered by your own choice of dress to tip, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. But he was very jovial. He was very clearly happy to have found us. I thought that was like a mark of great service. And just kind of in the moment, I just realized like I was, obviously shook his hand and thanked him profusely. Then I'm like, I think hours later, I'm like, oh shit, I should have tipped him. Like that's a perfect tipping opportunity, but I just forgot. So I apologize, Resorts World security team. When we start our Patreon and people start giving us money, I'll give you the first karma donation. That's what we'll do.
I like it.
Any other thoughts on that afternoon in slot golf?
Well, so the slot golf did end at Resorts World, like Adam's saying, and lucky for me, that's where I wanted to sit and play. So I sat up at that Resorts World high limit video poker bar that I like so well, and basically just played until it was the drop dead, got to get to the Vegas Knights game time. So I had Colin, James' friend Colin, with me, and he's a fast walker as well. So we kind of waited till the last possible second and then just booked it back to Cosmo as fast as we could. And I think we made really good time. We probably made it door to door in like just under 30 minutes, which was nice. But one thing I wanted to say about that walking path, man, there's a lot of construction going on. We've got one entire side of the strip closed to pedestrian traffic with the Hard Rock being built. So anywhere that would have been the old Mirage frontage is just completely impassable. You have to cross. And then there's a big choke point right in front of the Link Promenade where they're doing a ton of construction for that new Luke Combs country bar, because this is like the fourth country artist rooftop bar that the Vegas Strip is going to have. That just is kind of a disaster that late in the day, with it being the only way you can get up or down the strip is to go like through this narrow scaffold.
Yeah, at Resorts World, I was at first sitting with James at Crystal Bar, which is a center bar there, which I really like. But then I was wondering, like, which of the two podcast co-hosts do I like more? And so I left James to go to the high limit area with you, Jack. And I used the excuse of, oh, this machine doesn't have sound.
Right.
This really annoys me, which is a true thing, but it's really just I like Jack better. But no, I don't know how you guys feel, but no sound at a machine just kills me. I can't stand it. So I left. I'm like, I'll go play the high limit area for a little bit. And I actually had a pretty decent session. I think I only bought in like 300. And that was kind of like my theme with gambling for the trip, where it's like, I want to put in a short session. If this goes quickly, that's fine. I'm going to go back to my room and just chill out for a bit. And I ran it up to like 1,000, I think. And only
you
one
had
or
12x 4 of a kind. That's always
I'll say that was the one big hand I had. Everything else just kind of small gains. And, I hit that. And like I said, so I left with at least 1,000. I think I hovered right around there for a bit and then went back to Bellagio to get ready. But James, I don't know what you did. I think you were going to take a Zouk, which is,
Tom, Maddie, Kim, and I were going to get in a Zouk to just go back.
Zoox with
and
an
it
X,
was
by the
Zoox with an X.
Zoox with an X?
Sorry.
Okay, I sound old.
Well, Zouk
40.
is the nightclub at Resorts
Zouk is the
World.
nightclub.
Oh, that's right.
Zoox.
Yeah. You could take a Zoox to Zouk.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the wait time was 56 minutes. So we just hopped in an Uber because we wanted to get back to Cosmo, do a little bit of relaxing before we met up and everyone walked over to the Golden Knights game. We went down to Shandy to kind of gather everybody. And that's when Kim was like, I don't know if I got glutened or what, but like my insides are killing me right now. And I'm like, oh, do you want to go back up the room? She's like, no, we've got the game. And then like 5 minutes before we're about to leave, she's like, I can't go. So...
And James, being the good husband that he is,
said, go back to the room then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was like, everything's done. We're all going back to our rooms now. So what this ended up being, because I didn't mention this yet, a few days before, I got an email from the person that I booked this group trip through saying, would you and one person like to watch warm-ups from the penalty box? And I was like, yeah, sure. And at first I was going to like, oh, which one of my friends should I bring? Adam's like, you have to take Kim. I was like, Kim won't care. But then I'm like, oh, this is going to be better to take Kim. So that way no one's going to feel like, oh, why'd they pick me? Why didn't he pick me, etc. So anyways, now I had to find someone else. Why did he pick me? Why does he want to hang out with me?
Jack saying, yeah.
That's Jack. What the hell? Why does it? Anyway, I ended up bringing Maddie for a couple of reasons. One, I'm pretty sure it's because Maddie knew the person, like we talked about last episode. That's why we got this special treatment. But two, I had already given Kim's name. So when we get up there, the woman says, are you Kim? And she's like, yep. And then we had to sign a waiver. And she just like signs Kim's name.
Highly illegal.
But that was highly illegal. It was so great. We have so many felonies going on in this podcast. But yeah, so I ended up taking Maddie. We got there, pretty much walked up like 3 minutes before they opened the gates. There was a huge line. I will say that when they open the gates and they play that loud foghorn, that was a lot. Like, it was very loud. I am so old now. I am
Theme
so
of the trip.
old.
James can't do loud
James.
noises anymore.
The lines to get in moved really fast. It looked like
So
a
fast.
comically long line. We got in like a couple minutes. It was like 3 minutes.
Yeah. They told us, oh, you got to get there when it opens, so that way you can get on the railing at the party deck. So
That was
we all
true.
get in there. It was true. We get in there. We ask someone, how do you get to the party deck? And she goes, 2. And like, I know it's at the top. So all of us say, okay, second level. So we go
up to the
those
200 level.
To the 200 level. We get there and they're like, you're not going to like this. You got to go back down, go to section 2, and then walk all the way up. So we finally got there. And
to be clear, this is one of those things where section 2 is between section 141 and section 142. And then there's just like 2 between them. So it was, yeah.
It was not the easiest to find, but it was pretty cool to get up there. They had a buffet of some hot dogs and some nachos, some pizza bites, which was pretty cool. And then all you could drink beer. And everything we had read online was that there was going to be 2 options of like, Michelob Ultra and like Bud Heavy or something like that. But Jack, what did they have?
They had branded taps that fit their, medieval knights theme. And it said Ye Old Light. And it was per the confession of the guy serving the beers. He said, all we've got for beer is Busch Light, which was good enough for me. I had 3 of them.
Just Busch Light, which like was fine. What are we expecting? It was $200 a person, totally worth it. It was really fun.
I thought the food was fine. The food was as good as the Guy Fieri's at a minimum.
Did they have like seating and stuff? Like, I know you're going to stand on the railing. No seating at all.
Nope.
No seating at all.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no seating at all. There was a couple of TVs, and it got pretty full. Like I'm glad we got there and got the railing, but I don't think there would have ever been an issue of like you could kind of look in between.
It got like
people and
2
watch
deep,
the game.
right? 2 to 2.5 people deep,
Okay.
but it was never like 3 or 4 people deep standing behind the rail. So that was nice.
Right. So it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I know that Colin really enjoyed it because he just kept downing Busch Lights. And then he kept saying, you can't get drunk on Busch Lights. And after the first period, the Blackhawks only had 6 shots on goal, and Colin had finished 6 Busch Lights. And he must have said 6 times, you can't get drunk on Busch Light. And I've had more Busch Lights than the Chicago Blackhawks have had shots on goal. And that was about the time I looked at him and said, you've said this 6 times. You're fucking hammered on Busch Light right now. And he went, yeah, you're probably right.
I'm glad it was a really fun first period because that was the only part I stuck around for. The Knights rattled off 3 goals in pretty quick succession. In fact, so quickly that as the PA announcer was starting to announce, oh yeah, it was this guy with assists from, they just put another one in the net like before he could even get through the spiel. So that was fun to see.
Yeah, totally.
Especially knowing that Adam was over there, just being a sour rooter, being the dote player of our group, rooting against the table.
Yeah, Adam, where were you this time?
So I was in the Hyde Lounge, which is T-Mobile Arena's version of a club, if you will. It was really, if they just did it where they tried to make it not a club, like basically what happened was there would be a DJ playing music. I don't know if there was actually a DJ or just someone just played really loud music, but between every stoppage of play, so it wasn't like just between the intermissions. It was like the puck would stop, the whistle would go, the puck would stop, and then they would play loud music until the face off, and then then they would turn it off. It was really weird, but other than that, it was really cool. So they had like these kind of pleather sofas that faced the glass, right? Because it's all surrounded by glass up there. And then behind that was like a really tall table with like 4 to 6 chairs. I can't remember, like high top chairs around it. So you could actually sit down and see.
Was
and
that like reserved seating? Was it like, oh, Mr. Bauer, here's your table?
Yeah. So it's almost like kind of like if you're going to a nightclub and they have like a little section for you. Each, it's roped off. So like we were right next to a big party of bros next to us who were really nice and fun. But then like each section, like each group had their own private TV. Private. I mean, you could look. They caught me looking a couple times at their TV. Had your own TV, and then it was order by menu as well. So it wasn't like all you can eat, but huge portions. It's like party platters, essentially what they offered. So it's kind of that version, what you guys have, but with just seating and not a buffet style. Which I kind of like that. If they just did it away with the DJ, like no one's dancing up there, no one's clearly there for that. These are being rented out by people who are still kind of wanting to watch the game, but it's just kind of a more relaxed atmosphere, if you will. So I think that'd be a perfect spot for a big group if they just chilled out with the music and just let people watch the game in peace. But good service. It was really neat to kind of be up there, and it was still a good view. We were right behind the American flag. We're right like behind the goal, and still had a good view of everything.
Well, I ended up leaving after the second period. So with like 5 minutes left of the second period, I'm like, I've kind of had enough. So I started like telling all my friends, like, hey, I think I'm going to head back at the end of this period. Most of them were like, yeah, let's do that. Well, Colin and Mike were like, we're staying for the beer.
And Colin is the one that has a 6 a.m. flight the next morning.
Yes.
So he has to like leave the hotel shortly after 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
Now, you're not telling the people, because the original plan was brought up from James that, hey, we should potentially do this. Adam, the Blackhawks are in town. I didn't even know originally that the Hawks were going to be in town. And you guys knew I liked hockey. I obviously liked the Blackhawks. So James was like, we should go to the game. I said, that's great. It'd be fun to go with all of you. And then I decided not to go with all of you because I'm like, oh, well, my family's actually in town. They like hockey. They're Hawks fans. And my dad was in town too. So I said, no, I'm not going to actually join you anymore, even though this was kind of James's gift to me to make plans to do this. But you guys decided to get me back, if you will, during one of the intermissions. I cannot believe you didn't remember this.
I left.
I did.
I saw it in the
left
photos.
It out. So they asked me what I wanted to put on the scoreboard for our group. And they're like, most people say things like happy birthday or thank you to, someone else. And I didn't want to do that. I asked the group. A lot of them were not funny that people said. Adam said something funny that was like, you should say, welcome home from prison, James, or something. And I was like, I don't want to put that.
I thought that was one of the ones that wasn't funny, but yeah.
Whoa. Not on the Epstein list or whatever you want to do.
That's funny. We're not doing that. That's
great.
Funny.
Wonderful. So we put, I decided what I put up there was in quotes, we don't miss you, Adam. And then a little dash, Jack and James. From Jack and James. It was just like a stupid thing. And I actually thought it was going to be dumb because I didn't run this by anybody, I think, except Kim. And I'm like, everyone's going to think that was stupid. But everyone was like, oh, man, that was funny. Now, I think it was the Busch Lights that people were saying that, but I did like having it.
No, my group was sober. My family loved it. So it was well received in the Hyde Lounge, if you will.
Nice.
So, Jack, you went back to play video poker. Did you last too long?
Excuse me?
Did you last long?
That's all right. I went and just pounded back some waters and club sodas and waters and just got a nice long Chandelier session in. I think people started to get seats at the sports book right around like 9:45 because I left the game at like 8 and was like, I'm just going to play till 9 and then go to bed. And I played till more like 9:45, but I was getting well hydrated. So, and I think I got a good hit in there. I actually just narrowly missed a big hand where it was like I had big multipliers. I was dealt like 3 2s, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get like $1,000 if I get any of these 2s." And of course, I didn't get any of them. I got like one full house. Well, the very next hand, that full house I got turned into a 12x multiplier, and I hit 4 3s on that 12x only, and so I got the $1,200. Would have been a hand pay for, kind of what felt like it was a consolation prize hand to get the full house, but then it turned out to be even better than I was drawing for on the immediate previous hand. So that's always one of those fun serendipitous things about video poker. But that's really all that happened to me that night. I was mostly just kind of sobering up, and I was in my bed by like 10. So that was really nice.
Yeah, I just went back and played a little bit of blackjack with my buddy Bill, who was in town. He was like, hey, let's play a little bit of blackjack. Went around to some slots with Maddie, Blackjack Bill. Yeah, a lot of my friends were leaving either early in the morning or like early afternoon. I wasn't sure if I was going to see them. So I was trying to just like kind of say goodbyes and like thank them and kind of, oh, you want to play some blackjack? Let's do that for an hour. Let's go play some slots. So pretty chill night. And then went to bed and counted all of my winnings up to this point Saturday night and was like, man, I'm up $9,200 right now. Like, this is amazing. I'm one back the Super Bowl, which meant what I was going to do the next morning is I went and I wanted to see if I could take more money out of my credit line, even though I had 2 hand pays, just so I could. It was research for the pod and for Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And I went that next morning and I was just like, hey, I need a $2,000 thing. Like, yep, boom, here it is. So that's what I ended up playing on that last day. So even though I was up money,
it doesn't make me look
easily.
Very good for having claimed that you could never do this. But
well, after the game, I was like, well, I'm going to go play Pai Gow. Finally, I'm just going to put in like a quick hour. I was pretty tired. It was a pretty long day, and we stayed for the whole game because my family are big hockey fans. So a little late. I'm like, but I need to do this Pai Gow. I've got to do this Pai Gow. And I go to Bellagio, and the tables are packed. And so it's like, well, I'm not doing the Pai Gow now, and I'm not going to wait till something opens up. But I still felt like I'm tired, but I want to gamble a little bit, but I want to do something different than I typically do. So I had $100 in free play, and then I just put an extra $100 in. I said, okay, I'm going to sit down at this double bonus $1 single line game and just play. And if, because I'm tired. And I'm like, I am almost in that phase where I'm like, I prefer to just almost lose it. Like, I want to gamble, but I just, I don't think I can handle a marathon session. So I said, okay, once my $100 in free play, my $100 cash goes, it's $200 goes. And I knew I was playing a higher variance game with not a lot of money in, playing $5 a pull, that it's just going to go quick, and that's fine. I'm ready to accept that. And then, of course, I hit like 4 of a kind pretty quickly. I hit 4 tens, which jumps me up a few $100. I'm like, okay, so then I set like a new floor. I'm like, okay, once I get back down to 200, I'm going to just cash out and go up to the room. So that's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's fine. It's exactly what I want. Then I hit 4 aces, which is a quick $800, right?
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, so now I'm up to like $1,200. So I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Once I get down to $1,000, I'm just going to be done and go up to the room. Then I hit another 4 of a kind. And then I hit another 4 of a kind, and it just kept going. And I was just like, what the hell is going on right now? Almost to the point where I was annoyed by it, where I'm like, I'm ready to go. And I keep establishing these new floors, but I can't just leave. That's stupid. So I established a new floor of $1,500 eventually, and the machine finally let me leave. I think I had it up to like $1,650 was the high water mark or something, and it got down to $1,500, and I left. So ultimately for the day, just very short video poker session. So at Resorts World, it was up 700. And then at Bellagio, it was up, I think 1,400 if we're not counting the free play. So that was up $2,000 on maybe 3 hours worth of video poker. I did not put in long sessions, but it goes to show things always work out when you try something new and you're a little bit frustrated and angry that you're gambling.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Seems true.
Well, we've reached the last day. And there's a couple of highlights I want to hit from the last day, but we didn't do a lot of, there wasn't like a slot golf or a game or anything to talk about. I sent out into the entire chat of like, hey, anyone want to join us for some 2-for-1 Wicked Spoon? And Jack, how many people joined you and I?
Beyond the 2 of us?
2 or 1?
Yeah.
None.
0. It was just the 2 of us. But it was a good time. I don't think there's anything we need to report on from Wicked Spoon. We've talked about it many times. There was nothing...
I think the main thing that happened in that morning session before Wicked Spoon, because I remember ranting about this at breakfast with you, James, is that there was a guy there playing, I think mostly video blackjack at the bar, and his light would never go past the red light. Like when you put money in, your light will turn red, and they'll comp your first drink, even without really much play. You get your first drink comp to the Chandelier, but then it has to be green for you're playing consistently for you to get the next drink comp. It seems like the bartender didn't do a very good job of explaining to this guy what the deal was. This guy seemed to get short with the bartender pretty quickly about not being able to get his next drink. And it really frustrated me that it's not more clear to the players how these systems work. Because the guy's like, I've just been playing. I keep playing. It stays red. It's never changing. And I just keep putting more money in and I keep playing and it's not going anywhere. And it's like, I've tried to explain before that like it's not about like some meter that you're filling up and eventually it'll tip over to the next drink. It's all about just like, how much have you played in the last 3 minutes? So if you're not playing enough money, or you're not playing fast enough, it's never going to turn green. You could play $1 every 15 seconds for the entire day and it would never go green. You either have to up your bet or up the speed at which you're playing, or it's not going to change. And no one ever says that. The bartenders don't say that to the guy. They just say, oh, well, I mean, if it's not green, I can't comp it. So, I mean, and the bartender even ended up saying something to him with like, oh yeah, no, that's pretty frustrating. I think I'll call like a slot tech to come over and look at the machine. And I'm just sitting there being like, the machine's not broken. It's just that neither you nor the guy you're trying to explain it to you know how it works.
Right.
And I think this is a symptom of a larger problem. See, this is the rant. You don't get a word in edgewise.
This is the rant.
The larger problem is that in general, Vegas likes things to be opaque to the consumer. They don't want the consumer to be able to know anything. That's why these slot programs that used to be like, oh, we give you this amount of credits per this amount of coin in on machines. They don't do that anymore. They just say it's based off blah, and the blah is how much you play. And so they're trying to make these things so opaque to the consumer that they're not even telling their own staff how the machines work. Anyways, wish that were different.
I mean, I feel like it's like some companies where it's like there's one person who knows and no one knows who that person is or who to ask.
Right.
And so it just becomes, I feel like every big company has that where like one person knows everything about this one thing, but no one really knows who that person is. And it becomes really, and I think to express it too on behalf of the server or the bartender, like they're frustrated too with these types of things. Like they want to be serving us. They want us to have a good time, and that's an impediment to doing so. Yeah. They want less friction, and because that also helps them. That's more tips for them. So yeah,
I'm going to step in a little bit here because I was there for a while before Jack was there, and he was putting a good amount of play through that machine, and his wife was sitting next to him playing the exact same way, and her light turned green, and like he was just like he was like I'm gonna get this green, and it wasn't going, and I even told the bartender
that was the point of the game at that point. Like, that was his bonus.
I called the bartender over and I was like, hey man, like I've seen him put a ton of money through, like I think you should just comp it, and he's like, nope, I can't unless and I'm like, okay, like I don't know. I feel like I've seen at the Chandelier bar. I've never seen this bartender before, so maybe it's new, and so he's like, I gotta follow the rules. I feel like I've seen bartenders there that like, yeah, the light system. Like the guy clearly wasn't taking advantage of it. It's not like it was in the afternoon and like there's 3 people at the bar and he wants like a Bloody Mary. Like, give him the fucking drink. Give him the fucking drink.
I mean, I don't know. I think in general, the first thing you said is right, which is that the companies are getting a lot more strict about making sure that their bartenders don't have the discretion to do what you're saying.
All right.
So I buy that. But I don't buy that there was anything wrong with the machine, because I know that as soon as that guy stood up, I announced, hey, I'm going to see if I can make this light turn green. And I went over and sat at his machine and started playing my Ultimate X, and it was green within like 22 seconds.
Yeah, because he loosened the pickle jar.
and also, like, it could have reset. There could have been something wrong with it. Oh, fine. You don't have to believe me, Jack. You can think that I'm a liar. But I sat there and watched him. And yes, it was $1 blackjack. I get that.
I don't know if there is a fast enough pace that you can play $1 blackjack at that bar to make it turn green.
His wife was sitting next to him doing the exact same thing, going like one. And as soon as she did like $20, it turned green. Like I fucking watched it, Jack.
Because I've seen my light go red playing my $2 video blackjack. That's why I'm incredulous that you can go green on $1, because I played $2 video blackjack and I don't play that slowly, and I've gone red. So
all right, listeners, we will fund an experiment.
I was going to say, we need to
go
there.
I do this I fund an experiment every trip.
If you're going to Chandelier Bar sometime soon, we will each donate $20 to your cause to play video blackjack at $1 denom and $2 denom, and see if it ever turns on at $1 denom.
We're going to do it. That's where we're going to take money from the Patreon for.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's probably the best use of it.
Anyway, we don't want to get on bad terms with any more shandy bartenders.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're running long, and I've got gambling waiting for me downstairs here at the Rampart.
We can end,
There's just one more big thing that happened on Sunday.
There is a pretty big thing, and Jack and I are playing, not angry at each other, loving each other's presence, if I would say, at the Chandelier Bar. We're both up. We're both doing fine. all of a sudden, I look over and Jack has dealt 3 to the royal. And what
on
happened?
222. Yeah.
On
And I got
222.
nothing, royal flush for $2,000. So $2,000
second
on the
royal
nose
flush.
hand pay. Yeah. And my first handy at the Shandy with the new hand pay threshold. Yeah, 2 royals this trip. I made like
Wow.
8 trips in 2025 without a royal, and now I'm on 3 for the year over 2 trips. So we're going to keep that up. That's good.
We're going to keep it up.
As the slot attendant is coming over and paying me, she comes over, she takes my information, she comes back with the money, and like as she's reaching around to the other side of the machine to reset it back to where it can be played again, James claps and stands up.
Because I had just 2 aces. I was just dealt 2 aces, and I hit, and I had a 4X on the middle, and it came 3 ace for 4 aces with the kicker, $1,000 times 4, another $4,000 hand pay.
This is your third $4,000 hand pay of the trip.
Wow.
The third one of the trip. I was just like, let's go.
This is the first ever simultaneous handy at the Shandy, too.
Yeah.
Which was great because I did it before she reset the machine. So we were able to get a photo of both of our machines locked up next to each other.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
With the hand pay, which was pretty cool.
Sounds like fun.
You were here. You could have come. You were like busy seeing Tom Brady's sports cards at the Mandalay Bay or whatever.
Well, no, I do have to issue a correction from hour 1, and that this is the day I went to Sedell's, not the day before. I did not do Sedell's and then Guy Fieri. That would be
I was wondering
that,
but I didn't want to say anything.
That's preposterous. I was looking through my photos and like timestamps and like that. No, I just got a yogurt and then went to Guy Fieri's, but I did not have a full Sedell. So I had Sedell's, and then yes, I took my nephew who's big into sports card collecting. I buy and sell sports cards too. Then my dad's a big collector, so we took him out to a couple sports card shops. We did not make it to Tom Brady's card vault at Mandalay Bay just because I didn't want to walk all the way down there. So they picked me up at Bellagio. We went. There's one in Town Square. I do want to like say thank you to the guy at the Town Square shop. I forget what it's called. Really nice guy who's running the place. He gave my nephew like a free case or something that they had extra, like where you can hold your cards in and stuff. And I noticed like there's a dad who brought his kid in. His kid was getting into Pokemon. He gave the kid a couple of free packs, which packs are not cheap nowadays for these things. Right. So it was really nice to see him like engage with people. And I would say that like their prices are really fair and their stuff. He was able to work out a deal with me for a couple of things that I was looking at. So it was cool. It was really cool to see that like, because the hobby, not to go off it too much, like it can be filled with like some smarmy people who are trying to get one over on people. Yeah. And so it was cool to see like being a really clean, nice shop where they've got good ethics. So if you're in town and you're into that stuff, I know a lot of people are. There's one in Town Square. Just look it up. Cool guy running it. Not the biggest store. Doesn't have a ton of stuff, but you know, you're going to be treated well. So that's cool. Once I was done with that, I joined you guys later for some more gambling at Shandy for a bit before dinner.
I mean, that's pretty much all I did that last day.
Yeah, we got to play some craps too.
Oh, yeah, craps. Yeah, craps went. Yeah. It went.
Yeah, it didn't go so well. So thanks to... we talk about when do you want the big hit. This kind of, for me, ended up being, I said I prefer late over middle and early. I had the hits early and middle, and then in the latter part of the trip, I kind of just lost on everything. Mm-hmm. Even, James has these little 4-of-a-kind trackers for us, and I can see that on that biggest gambling day I did Sunday, where all I did was basically video poker all day, I didn't hit a single hand on anything better than a 4X. Like those 8X, 10X, 12X, those big multipliers you're chasing, I never hit anything on any of them. So it kind of explains that, at some point I was up like $3,300 on the trip. I was like, this is insane. And I think I went home up like $700. Mm-hmm. So it was like basically from that hand pay onwards, I just like tanked off $2,600 over the next however many hours. So again, kind of like a frustrating way to end the trip, but it was a lot of really fun sessions. I don't think any of those sessions were particularly annoying or disappointing other than that we were losing, but it was a good time.
Yeah, and that crap session, we played at Cosmos, $25 minimum. The crew was great, though. They were really fun. They were rooting for us. I bought in for $1,800. I think I ended up losing like $700 or something like that. Playing pretty simple. I wasn't going crazy, except with the bonuses and then tipping and stuff. But they were a really fun crew. So it's like it didn't sting that much. Like, yes, we were losing. I mean, I don't know if we had one really good roll at all. didn't seem like it. It was just the three of us and one guy on the other side. I think it goes to show you like what a really good, fun crew can do.
Yeah. I will say that I played so much. I hit the 20,000 tier credit that day at MGM to get the 20,000 bonus.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's was because I was playing all day. You know, I hit, and like people are like, oh man, you hit a $4,000 hand pay. Like, that's awesome. I ended up losing $1,400 on the day. Like, after all, I mean, the crap session didn't go well. I played some other stuff too. But like, that variance can bite you still like a lot, even with a big hit. But I was comfortable playing 50 senses and playing rather fast. And I saw, I was like, I can get to that 20 today because I have this, you know, I have this extra money. I guess we ended Sunday by the three of us, along with Kim and my buddy Mike, going to Bavette's. Delicious as always.
Adam pulled some strings to get us in a little earlier, which was nice because I was like, oh my God, another like 8:45 dinner just kill me.
And by strings, I mean, I was at my sister's house anyway with my nephew going through his card collection. And I said, before I left, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, can you call someone and get us an earlier reservation at Bavette's? She goes, yeah, fine. And then
I think that counts as pulling some strings. I think.
She was just,
and by the way, I think it was
into her phone.
Just, it was what? It was 2 hours earlier, right? It was a 6:30 or did we get a 7? I forget. But either way, it was 7. Earlier, and it was yeah. It was good because I don't think if we would have kept the 8:30, I don't think Mike would have ended up coming anyway because he had that late flight. So it was good.
Yeah, but I mean, Bavette's was great. It
was so good,
spot on.
Yeah. After Bavette's, we played a little bit. The three of us with Kim played a little bit at the sports bar there at Cosmo. I did not get to sit with you guys at first.
Oh man, yeah, that was nice.
Because
that older couple were
making out.
Yeah, they were necking. I think that's what they call it.
Necking. Yeah. Yeah. Then Kim and I just decided to head on over to M Resort, but I think we're gonna save the rest of my trip, the whole second half of my trip, for a couple weeks from now when we record.
Yeah, it was a fantastic trip. I mean, I think you did the right thing of just planning one big thing a day. Either it's like a dinner or just a kind of a longer social outing or whatever. And it all just, it flowed really well. We had a ton of time just kind of do our own thing. And, you know, I think what helps is you're laid back. So it's one of those things where like, if you can come for this dinner or this breakfast or whatever, cool. If not, like, it's not a big deal because, you know, I don't know. I've been on trips where it's like, you got to be there or they're going to be, you know, like those people are uptight. And so that was great.
I think James should have been more mean to the friends that didn't want to come to slot golf, those two party poopers.
Well, we tried. We did our best to be as aggressive as possible towards those two, especially at Guy Fieri's. I mean, we threw tots at them, but, you know, there's only so much you can do.
I guess the only thing I'll say about Monday, the last day, is that when I woke up, paid off my markers, and walked on back to the airport. So I did another.
Did you really walk?
I did it on foot. Yep.
Oh gosh, I said let's not talk about flights because it's boring and we don't need to talk about it. It takes up time. But easy going at the airport. Easy going at the airport. Well, no. So my flights it was very much my Wynn to Bellagio, where on the way there I flew up front in first class. On the way home I was in economy plus. So it's like this is fitting at this point. So I think that's what I'm going to start doing now. Depending on where I stay, that's where I have to sit on the plane.
Yeah.
So Excalibur, I've got to get a jump seat.
Yeah. Exactly. So I want to do one last thing here. Actually, two things. One, Jack, how'd you end up on that weekend of the trip?
Well, like I said, I ended up up $700.
Nice. Adam, where were you at?
Wise.
I think all told, I was up about 1,400.
There you go. And at that point in the trip, and I'm not going to tell you where I am now, but at that point in the trip, I was up about 7,500. So all three of us gambled a lot and ended up positive, which is just amazing. Couldn't have asked for anything
some
better.
of us more than others.
Well, hey, you know, got to play those 50 senses.
I didn't even hit a royal.
Exactly. And before I let Adam take us out of here, I wanted to ask a really quick question because I have $500 in free play waiting for me at Rampart. If you had, and it's slot play, what would you do with it, Jack? Quick, no thinking.
Dragon Link, maxed out major.
Adam.
Hot pots.
Okay, I think I'm just going to play it in video poker and be boring.
Okay.
I thought you said it had to be a slot, but
Oh, I mean, video poker.
You do
slots.
slot play for video poker. Yeah.
I mean, you know what my answer would be if you're like, Jack, where would you spend your free play?
Nickel
machine?
single line jacks are better.
Right, exactly.
Get as much as you can out of it.
Everyone knows.
Well, it was great meeting your friends. It was such a fun time. I think it helps that everyone on this call at least was up with gambling.
Yeah.
But Vegas is always a good time. So thanks, James, for inviting us, and thanks to all you listeners for joining along. Thanks for those of you who have said nice things about us, who left positive reviews, and who we've seen in person and said nice things to us. So, thank you. Thanks for listening. This has been hour 2 of episode 19, Handy at the Shandy podcast for Table James Games and Boring Jack. I'm Adam the Fraud. See you next time.
Take care, y'all.
Au revoir.